living abroad, there's times where I get to sit down with other expats and I get to hear their stories about their travels. And I generally enjoy these stories. They're some of the coolest things you'll ever hear. And I know when we travel abroad, a lot of people think you come out here, you party, you get wasted, you do all that crazy stuff. And that's fine if you're doing it for a few days. But when it becomes your lifestyle, that's when things become a problem. So today I want to talk to you about how you can travel abroad on a budget, not break the bank, and create memories that are lasting, that actually have value to you. And when somebody asks, you don't sit there blank like, I don't remember what happened after 8 o'clock. So the first thing we have to talk about is the money. And this misconception that traveling abroad means you have to break the bank or sell a kidney or get some huge loan. You really don't. Because traveling doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And of course, if you do travel, there's going to be some things that are going to be expensive. You know, if you get out to Japan, you're going to have the big Disneyland and the Mario Park. It's expensive to get in there. You have to call weeks in advance, but it's worth it. However, there's a whole lot more to do outside of all this tourist stuff that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. And just to spoil some of the tourist stuff for you guys, a lot of it is staged, a lot of it is fake, and a lot of it is honestly redundant. And this happened to be in Cambodia when I did a tour of the 9 main temples. And it was an exciting adventure. We got to rent an e-bike and travel around pretty much the city of the Siem Reap in Cambodia. We saw the first 6 temples. It was really cool. Never experienced something like this before. Phenomenal. But after that, it started to feel redundant and it started to get boring. And when we got to the final Cambodian temple, this is the big famous one that everybody knows about. It's on their flag even. It was more of like, I was ready to go home, or more of like, can we come back tomorrow? Because it was just redundant and burnt out. And with this being said, definitely check out the major tourist spots. But don't try to hit all of them because it does get redundant real fast. So once you do get through all these really cool, like big, expensive tourist hotspots that everybody goes to, start checking out the local stuff. Go where the people go. And this could be the local markets, national parks. There's mountain range areas where you can go hiking, you can go rock climbing. And this reminds me when I went to Pattaya. This is a city well known for entertainment for men and a whole lot of bars. And I got my Airbnb and I misread the actual post, like location. I guess I Googled it wrong or something like that. And I ended up being like 28 kilometers outside of that tourist area. And I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I'm like, I already prepaid. I couldn't get refunded. And I'm like 30 kilometers away from the actual tourist city area. And I started to realize how cool it was. I found this awesome park, like it was like 400 meters away. It was huge too. I did videos about this park. And I just went there every day and I did my 10-kilometer walk. I started finding like local restaurants. The food was better than anything I ever had in Thailand. It was insane. Consider using local types of transportation. And I don't tell you to do this to save you money. This actually has nothing to do with money. It's about meeting the local people. It's about experiencing the life of that country, how people live it day to day. And it's about seeing things that you usually don't see as a tourist. If you get on a sleeper bus, it goes A to B. That's it. You don't see anything in between except what's outside your window. But when you get on a local bus, or if you take the train or a trolley or a ferry, you start seeing parts of these countries. That's phenomenal. So definitely consider taking local transportation if you can. It is a lot cheaper as long as time isn't an issue, because it can take longer sometimes. It's definitely worth it. Now, the next big thing I see backpackers and tourists and expats not really get into is immersing themselves in the culture of the country they're at, trying the local foods, and going to local events like a Vietnamese wedding or going to a Buddhist event in Thailand, trying stuff that normal people from these countries actually do. And the best part of this, going back to money, is this is typically way cheaper than doing a lot of this tourist stuff. And while you're doing this, you can start learning new skills. Like for me, I'm not a cook, but when I go to different countries, I always make it a habit to join a cultural cooking class. And it's an amazing experience because the people there, the expats, they're all really cool people to talk to. It's not like the normal tourists that you meet on the walking street stuff. And you get to meet the local people. You get to try authentic food. And I'm not saying that street food in like Thailand or Cambodia or something's bad, but when you have a professional cook making authentic food of that country for you, it is so amazing. And to be able to do it yourself and go back to your own country and make some food, to make pho, make miso, to make pad thai or something like that, is an amazing thing to do. And the whole thing ends up costing like $5 or $10 at most, which is just the cost of like 2 beers. And for you guys that are more into like the fitness world, mountain climbing, snorkeling, going on like hiking trips, mountain bike trails, stuff like this. These are all offered. When you take these trips, don't book your hotel. Sometimes they'll take you out to these far remote areas. And then what we end up doing is just getting a hotel in that area. It's way cheaper because you're in a local area. It's not a tourist area. And on top of that, when you wake up in the morning, there's no tourists. There's no expats. It's just the local people living a normal life. And the food is real. The atmosphere is real. And it's an experience that you just won't get in these countries staying in the backpacking expat areas. And don't just limit yourself to the normal stuff. Check out the yoga events, the meditation groups, the spa retreats. And this reminds me, years back, I ended up doing a spa retreat. I wasn't going to do it. My friends were like, hey, let's go do this. And I kept saying, oh, this is so G. And after 5 days of doing this retreat, this was out on an island in Thailand. I never realized that was a 5-day, a decompressed vacation that I didn't know I needed. So traveling is a life-changing experience. Everyone should seriously do this. I don't care how old you are, what your financial status is, figure it out. This is something you have to do. And when you get to that point, you have to be ready. You can't last minute, even the basic stuff. You have to plan this stuff out. So when you do decide what country you want to go to, do some research. Check out some of my older videos on the different countries that I've went through. And get the local apps that you need. Find out what's required to book flights, what's to get a taxi so you're not getting scammed, the best booking apps for different hotels, and what like social apps are used in different countries. And most importantly, have a VoIP that allows you to call home as long as you're on a Wi-Fi connection. This is very important. You never know when there's going to be an emergency. You need to call back home to your family or relatives or whatnot and be like, hey, I'm in trouble, help me. If you are coming out here to Asia, get Grab. It works in every country in Asia. And every time you go to a different part of Asia, different country, the Grab app updates to your location. So it'll show you the options available for that area for you. Also, if you need something for quick buys, shopping, Lazada is a must. This is kind of like the eBay, Amazon of Asia. And finally, when it comes to chat apps in Asia, WhatsApp is the best thing to do. Definitely if you meet other tourists or expats out here, they're all going to have the same app. So you want to have that so you can stay in contact with them. And when you're packing your bags, pack light. Being out here traveling, you're going to buy random shit. So pack light. And when it comes to your clothes and like toiletries and stuff like that, don't bring a lot. You can buy the clothes and all the toiletries here in Asia, and it's typically way cheaper, like 80 or 90% cheaper to just buy it here. And if you do need help finding a good bag, a suitcase or a backpack, you guys have seen me walk around my Nomadic. I've had the same bag for like 5 or 6 years. It still looks brand new. Check the link below for the Nomadics. There's a big discount on them if you order through that link. They have everything. Suitcases, backpacks, they're durable as hell. They have sleek looks, and they all have different compartments. And the cool part about that compartment is you can throw your phone in that compartment, leave it off, and enjoy your trip and focus on what's around you. And the very last mention before we get out of here is money. When you're going to a new country, you know where you're going. Try to get at least $100 of their currency before you land there. And the reason for that is when you land in these spots, you have money to pay for a SIM card. You have money to pay for the taxi. You have money for your first night at the hotel, just until you get to an ATM or a local bank or money exchange where it'll be cheaper. And a little hack that I do when I travel, I always put aside like $40, $50 of their money, and I throw it in my bag in like this little envelope. And I have a stack of money from I think like 35 or 40 different countries. So when I go to these countries, I go through that bag, I look for that money for that currency, and I pull it out and I use it there. So pack your bags, check out what you need. If you have any questions, let me know below. Don't be the one that's going back home after your long vacation, not remember anything because you are half drunk the entire trip. Start enjoying your trip and stop spending so much money and time in the tourist spots and start seeing what the local people actually do. So if you have any other questions, let me know below. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here and I will see you again.